الله أكبر والله أكبر لا إله إلا الله لا إله إلا الله وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الأطهار.
الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن عليا ولي الله. أشهد أن عليا أمير المؤمنين وأولاده المعصومين حجج الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير الأعمال حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
لله رب العالمين لا شريك له وذلك وأنا من المسلمين. اللهم اجعلني من المسلمين. يا محسن قد أتاك المسيء فقد أنت المحسن أن يتجاوز عن المسيء. أنت المحسن وأنا المسيء تجاوز يا الله. الله أكبر. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمدي سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. سميع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد وأركع وأسجد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم
صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. كذلك الله ربنا الله أكبر. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع له لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد وأركع وأسجد. استغفر الله. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. سمع له لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. يا من له الدنيا والآخرة ارحم من ليس له الدنيا والآخرة. الله أكبر. بسم الله وبالله والحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. لا إله إلا الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إني أسألك موجبات رحمتك وعظائم مغفرتك والنجاة من النار ومن كل بلية والفوز بالجنة والرضوان في دار السلام وجوار نبيك محمد عليه وآله السلام. اللهم ما بنا من نعمة فمنك لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Last session, we finished going through the makruhat in namaz. Tonight, we'll start all the things which are the mubtilat, the things which make your salat batil. There's, about a dozen or so. I don't think we're going to go through all of them. Some of them are fairly obvious. For example, if during namaz your wudu, or you can even say ghusl, they mention both, but realistically, if your wudu becomes batil and void, then obviously your namaz becomes void as well too. So this one, okay, let me ask. I usually don't quiz here, but if I cross my arms like this during namaz, does that make my namaz batil? We have a yes and we have a no. So it's a trick question. That's why I asked it. If my intention is I'm crossing it to show humility and basically copy the Ahlul Sunnah, things like that, then it would become batil. But if I'm just crossing my arms just for the sake of it, or scratching myself, something like that, or I'm just tired and I'm doing that, that's technically okay. Now again, placing your arms over here for men on your thighs is what's mustahab. Anywhere else would be mubah, and if you're kind of just moving around, right, in salah, that's also makruh. But keeping it just like this, just for the sake of doing it, not with the intention of copying Sunnis or trying to show some humility, then it should be okay. But if you do it with that intention, that's what would make your salah batil. Just like that, if you intentionally say Ameen after Surah Al-Fatiha, then of course that also voids your salah. Now people have asked me many times before, we've gone through this, but our recommendation, and I believe the riwayah comes from Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wassalam, that we are encouraged, it's recommended to say Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen after Fatiha, whether by ourselves or in Jama'ah. Now, again, as a reminder to all of us, I think most of us have pretty much changed now over the years, But this, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, especially in jama'ah, should be done quietly, right? So not so that, definitely the imam shouldn't hear, because that becomes makruh, but definitely we don't want to be, bothering other people in their salah as well. So you can whisper it, quietly to yourself. The fifth one, I think we'll stop over here for today, is turning away from the qibla unless you have a valid excuse. Now, sometimes there are excuses which are allowed, but if you don't have a valid excuse and you just end up turning away from the qibla, that also voids your salah as well. We'll go through the rest, inshallah, in our next session. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وأن عليا حجة الله صلوات وسلامه عليه. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. استغفر الله ربي وأتوب إنه كان. الله أكبر. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد وأركع وأسجد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. كذلك الله ربنا. الله أكبر. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمد. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد وأركع وأسجد. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. استغفر الله. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد وأركع وأسجد. سبحان الله. أستغفر الله ربي. الله أكبر. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمده. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمده. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. إلهي عظم الذنب من عبدك فليحسن العفو من عندك يا كريم. الله أكبر. بسم الله وبالله والحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وجل. لا إله إلا الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليه.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إنه ليس لي علم بموضع رزقي وإنما أطلبه بخطرات تخطر على قلبي فأجول في طلبه البلدان فأنا فيما أنا طالب كالحيران لا أدري في سهل هو في جبل أم في أرض أم في سماء أم في بر أم في بحر وعلى يدي من ومن قبل من وقد علمت أن علمه عندك وأسبابه بيدك وأنت الذي تقسمه بلطفك وتسببه برحمتك. اللهم فصل على محمد وآله واجعل يا ربي رزقك لي واسعا ومطلبه سهلا وما أخذه قريبا ولا تعنني بطلب ما لم تقدر لي فيه رزقا فإنك غني عن عذابي وأنا فقير إلى رحمتك. فصل على محمد وآله وجد على عبدك بفضلك إنك ذو فضل عظيم.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ياسين والقرآن الحكيم إنك لمن المرسلين على صراط مستقيم تنزيل العزيز الرحيم لتنذر قوما ما أنذر آباؤهم فهم غافلون لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون إنا جعلنا في أعناقهم أغلالا فهي إلى الأذقان فهم مقمحون وجعلنا من بين أيديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فأغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم لم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون إنما تنذر من اتبع الذكر وخشي الرحمن بالغيب فبشره بمغفرة وأجر كريم إنا نحن نحيي الموتى ونكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين واضرب لهم مثلا أصحاب القرية إذ جاءها المرسلون إذ أرسلنا إليهم اثنين فكذبهما فعززنا بثالث فقالوا إنا إليكم مرسلون قالوا ما أنتم إلا بشر مثلنا وما أنزل الرحمن من شيء إن أنتم إلا تكذبون قالوا ربنا يعلم إنا إليكم لمرسلون وما علينا إلا البلاغ المبين قالوا إنا تطيرنا بكم لئن لم تنتهوا لنرجمنكم وليمسنكم منا عذاب عليم قالوا طائركم معكم أئن ذكرتم بل أنتم قوم مسرفون وجاء من أكثر مدينة رجل يسعى قال يا قوم اتبعوا المرسلين اتبعوا من لا يسألكم أجرا وهم محتدون وما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون أأتخذ من دونه آلهة إن يردني الرحمن بضر لا تغني عني شفاعتهم شيئا ولا ينقذون إني إذا لفي ضلال مبين إني آمنت بربكم فاسمعون قيل ادخل الجنة قال يا ليت قومي يعلمون بما غفر لي ربي وجعلني من المكرمين وما أنزلنا على قومه من بعده من جند من السماء وما كنا منزلين إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم خامدون يا حسرة على العباد ما يأتيهم من رسول إلا كانوا به يستهزئون ألم يروا كم أهلكنا قبلهم من القرون أنهم إليهم لا يرجعون وإن كل لما جميع الذين محضرون وآية لهم الأرض الميتة وأحييناها وأخرجنا منها حبا فمنه يأكلون وجعلنا فيها جنات من نخيل وأعناب وفجرنا فيها من العيون ليأكلوا من ثمره وما عملت أيديهم أفلا يشكرون سبحان الذي خلق الأزواج كلها مما تنبت الأرض ومن أنفسهم ومما لا يعلمون وآية لهم الليل نسلخ منه النهار فإذا هم مظلمون والشمس تجري لمستقر لها ذلك تقدير عزيز عليم والقمر قدرنا منازله حتى عاد كالأرجون القديم لا الشمس ينبغي لها أن تدرك القمر ولا الليل سابق النهار وكل في فلك يسبحون وآية لهم أنا حملنا ذرية في الفلك المشحون وخلقنا لهم من مثله ما يركبون وإن نشأ نغرقهم فلا صريخ لهم ولا هم ينقذون إلا رحمة منا ومتاعا إلى حين وإذا قيل لهم اتقوا ما بين أيديكم وما خلفكم لعلكم ترحمون ما تأتيهم من آية من آيات ربهم إلا كانوا عنها معرضين وإذا قيل لهم أنفقوا مما رزقكم الله قال الذين كفروا للذين آمنوا أنطعم من لو يشاء الله أطعمه إن أنتم إلا في ضلال مبين ويقولون متى هذا الوعد إن كنتم صادقين ما ينظرون إلا صيحة واحدة تأخذهم وهم يخصمون فلا يستطيعون توصية ولا إلى أهلهم يرجعون ونفخ في السور فإذا هم من الأجداث إلى ربهم ينسلون قالوا يا ويلنا من بعثنا من مرقدنا هذا ما وعد الرحمن وصدق المرسلون إن كانت إلا صيحة واحدة فإذا هم جميع لدينا محضرون فاليوم لا تظلم نفس شيئا ولا تجزون إلا ما كنتم تعملون إنا أصحاب الجنة اليوم في شغل فاكهون هم وأزواجهم في ظلال على الأرائك متكئون لهم فيها فاكهة ولهم ما يدعون سلام قولا من رب رحيم وامتازوا اليوم أيها المجرمون ألم أعهد إليكم يا بني آدم لا تعبدوا الشيطان إنه لكم عدو مبين وأن اعبدوني هذا صراط مستقيم ولقد أضل منكم جبلا كثيرا أفلم تكونوا تأكلون هذه جهنم التي كنتم توعدون اصلوها اليوم بما كنتم تكفرون اليوم نختم على أفواههم وتكلمنا أيديهم وتشهد أرجلهم بما كانوا يكسبون ولو نشاء لتمسنا على أعينهم فاستبقوا الصراط فأنى يبصرون ولو نشاء لمسخناهم على مكانة فما استطاعوا مضيا ولا يرجعون ومن نؤمره نكسه في الخلق أفلا يعقلون وما علمناه الشعر وما ينبغي له إن هو إلا ذكر وقرآن مبين لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين أولم يروا أنا خلقنا لهم مما عملت أيدينا أنعاما فهم لها مالكون وظللنا له فمنها ركوبهم ومنها يأكلون ولهم فيها منافع ومشارب أفلا يشكرون واتخذوا من دون الله آلهة لعلهم ينصرون لا يستطيعون نصرهم وهم لهم جند محضرون فلا يحزنك قولهم إنا نعلم ما يسرون وما يعلنون أولم ير الإنسان أنا خلقناهم من نطفة فإذا هو خصيم مبين وضرب لنا مثلا ونسي خلقه قال من يحيي العظام وهي رميم قل يحيي الذي أنشاها أول مرة وهو بكل خلق عليم الذي جعل لكم من الشجر الأخضر نارا فإذا أنتم منه توقدون أوليس الذي خلق السماوات والأرض بقادر على أن يخلق مثلهم بلى وهو الخلاق العليم إنما أمره إذا أراد شيئا يقول له كن فيكون فسبحان الذي بيده ملكوت كل شيء وإليه ترجعون. سورة مباركة الفاتحة.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد اللهم إني أسألك برحمتك التي وسعت كل شيء وبقوتك التي قهرت بها كل شيء وخضع لها كل شيء وذل لها كل شيء وبجبروتك التي غلبت بها كل شيء وبعزتك التي لا يقوم لها شيء وبعظمتك التي ملأت كل شيء وبسلطانك الذي على كل شيء وبوجهك الباقي بعد فناء كل شيء وبأسمائك التي ملأت أركان كل شيء وبعلمك الذي أحاط بكل شيء وبنور وجهك الذي أضاء له كل شيء يا نور يا قدوس يا أول الأولين ويا آخر الآخرين اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تهتك العصام اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل النقام اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تغير النعام اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تحبس الدعاء اللهم اغفر لي الذنوب التي تنزل البلاء اللهم اغفر لي كل ذنب أذنبته وكل خطيئة أخطأتها اللهم إني أتقرب إليك بذكرك وأستشفع بك إلى نفسك وأسألك بجودك أن تدنيني من قربك وأن توزعني شكرك وأن تلهمني ذكرك اللهم إني أسألك سؤال خاضع متذلل خاشع أن تسامحني وترحمني وتجعلني بقسمك راضيا قانعا وفي جميع الأهوال متوازعا اللهم وأسألك سؤال من اشتدت فاقته وأنزل بك عند الشدائد حاجته وعظم فيما عندك رغبته اللهم عظم سلطانك وعلى مكانك وخفي مكرك وذار همرك وغلب قهرك وجرت قدرتك ولا يمكن الفرار من حكومتك اللهم لا أجد لذنوب غافرا ولا لقبائحي ساترا ولا لشيء من عملي القبيح بالحسن بدلا غيرك لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك وبحمدك ظلمت نفسي وتجرأت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك علي اللهم مولاي كم من قبيح سترته وكم من فاده من البلاء أكلته وكم من عثار وقيته وكم من مكروه دفعته وكم من ثناء جميل لست أهلا له نشرته اللهم عظم بلائي وافرط بي سوء حالي وكثرت بي أعمالي وقدعت بي أغلالي وحبسني النفع بعد أملي وخدعتني الدنيا بغرورها ونفسي بجنايتها ومثالي يا سيدي فأسألك بعزتك أن لا يحجبك عنك دعائي سوء عملي وفعالي ولا تفزعني بخفي ما اطلعت عليه من سري ولا تعجلني بالعقوبة على ما عملت في خلوات من سوء فعلي وإساتي ودوام تفريطي وجهالتي وكثرة شهواتي وغفلتي وكن اللهم بعزتك لي في كل الأحوال رؤوفا وعلي في جميع الأمور يتوفا إلهي وربي من لي غيرك أسأله كشف ضري والنظر في أمري إلهي ومولاي أجريت علي حكما اتبعت فيه هوى نفسي ولم أحترس فيه من تزيين عدوي فغرني بما أهواه وأسعده على ذلك القضاء فتجاوزت بما جرى علي من ذلك بعد حدودك وخالفت بعد أوامرك فلك الحمد علي في جميع ذلك ولا حجة لي فيما جرى علي فيه قضاؤك وألزمني حكمك وبلاؤك وقد أتيتك يا إلهي بعد تقصيري وإسرافي على نفسي معتذرا نادما منكسرا مستقيلا مستغفرا منيبا مقرا مذعنا معترفا لا أجد مفرا مما كان مني ولا مفزا أتوجه إليه في أمري غير قبولك عذري وإدخالك إياي في سعة من رحمتك اللهم فأقبل عذري وارحم شدة ذري وفكني من شد وثاقي يا رب ارحم زعف بدني ورقة جلدي ودقة عظمي يا من بدع خلقي وذكري وتربيتي وبري وتغذيتي حبني لابتداء كرمك وسالف برك بي. يا إلهي وسيدي وربي أتراك معذبي بنارك بعد توحيدك وبعد ما انتوى عليه قلبي من معرفتك ولهج به لسان من ذكرك واعتقده ضميري من حبك وبعد صدق اعترافي ودعائي خاضعا لربوبيتك. هيهات أنت أكرم من أن تزيع من ربيته أو تبعد من أدنيته أو تشرد من آويته أو تسلم إلى البلاء من كفيته ورحمته. وليت شعري يا سيدي وإلهي ومولاي أتسلط النار على وجوه خرت لعظمتك ساجدة وعلى ألسن نطقت بتوحيدك صادقة وبشكرك مادحة وعلى قلوب اعترفت بإلهيتك محققة وعلى زمائر حوت من العلم بك حتى صارت خاشعة وعلى جوارح سعت إلى أوتان تعبدك طاية وأشارت باستغفارك مذعنة. ما هكذا الظن بك ولا أخبرنا بفضلك أنك يا كريم. يا ربي وأنت تعلم ضعفي عن قليل من بلاء الدنيا وعقوباتها وما يجري فيها من المكاره على أهلها على أن ذلك بلاء ومكروه قليل مكسو يصير بقاؤه قصير مدته. فكيف احتمال البلاء الآخرة وجليل الوقوع المكاره فيها وهو بلاء تطول مدته ويدوم مقامه ولا يخفف عن أهله لأنه لا يكون إلا عن غضبك وانتقامك وسخطك وهذا ما لا تقوم له السماوات والأرض. يا سيدي فكيف لي وأنا عبدك الضعيف الذليل الحكير المسكين المستقيم. يا إلهي وربي وسيدي ومولاي لأي الأمور إليك أشكو ولما منها أزج وأبكي ليليم العذاب وشدته أم لطول البلاء ومدته. فلئن صيرتني للعقوبات مع أعدائك وجمعت بيني وبين أهل بلائك وفرقت بيني وبين أحبائك وأوليائك فهبني يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي وربي صبرت على عذابك فكيف أصبر على فراقك وهبني صبرت على حر نارك فكيف أصبر عن النظر إلى كرامتك أم كيف أسكن في النار ورجائي عفوك فبعزتك. يا سيدي ومولاي أقسم صادقا لئن تركتني ناتكا لأزجن إليك بين أهلها زجيج الآملين ولأصرخن إليك صراخ المستصرخين ولأبكين عليك بكاء الفاكدين ولأنادينك إن كنت يا ولي المؤمنين يا غاية آمال العارفين يا غياث المستغيثين يا حبيب قلوب الصادقين ويا إله العالمين. أفتراك سبحانك يا إلهي وبحمدك تسمع فيها صوت عبد مسلم سجن فيها بمخالفتي وذاق طعم عذابها بمعصيته وحبس بين أطباقها بجرمه وجريرته وهو يزج إليك زجيجا مؤمن لرحمتك ويناديك بلسان أهل توحيدك ويتوسل إليك بربوبيتك. يا مولاي فكيف يبقى في العذاب وهو يرجو ما سلف من حلمك أم كيف تؤلمه النار وهو يأمل فضلك ورحمتك أم كيف يحركه لهيبها وأنت تسمع صوته وترى مكانه أم كيف يشتمل عليه زفيرها وأنت تعلم ضعفه أم كيف يتقلقل بين أطباقها وأنت تعلم صدقه أم كيف تزجره زبانيتها وهو يناديك يا رباه أم كيف يرجو فضلك في عتقه منها فتتركه فيها هيهات ما ذلك الظن بك ولا المعروف من فضلك ولا مشبه لما عاملت به الموحدين من برك وإحسانك فباليقين يقطع لولا ما حكمت به من تعذيب جاهديك وقضيت به من إخلاد معانديك لجعلت النهار كلها برنا وسلاما وما كانت لأحد فيها مقرا ولا مقاما لكنك تقدست أسماؤك أقسمت أن تملها من الكافرين من الجنة والناس أجمعين وأن تخلد فيها المعاندين وأن تجلت ثناؤك قلت مبتدعا وتتولت بالإنعام متكرما أفمن كان مؤمنا كمن كان فاسقا لا يستوون إلهي وسيدي فأسألك بالقدرة التي قدرتها وبالقضية التي حتمتها وحكمتها وغلبت من عليه أجريتها أن تهب لي في هذه الليلة وفي هذه الساعة كل جرم أجرمته وكل ذنب أذنبته وكل كبيح أسررته وكل جهل عملته كتمته أو أعلنته أغفيته أو أظهرته وكل سيئة أمرت بإثباتها الكرام الكاتبين الذين وكلتهم بحفظهم ما يكون مني وجعلتهم شهودا علي مع جوارحي وكنت أنت الرقيب علي من ورائهم والشاهد لما خفي عنهم وبرحمتك أغفيت وبفضلك سترت وأن توفر حظ من كل خير أنزلت أو إحسان فضلت أو بر نشرت أو رزق بسطت أو ذنب تغفر أو خطأ تستر يا ربي يا ربي يا رب يا إلهي وسيدي ومولاي ومالك رقي يا من بيدي ناصيتي يا عليما بذري ومسكنتي يا خبيرا بفقري وفاكتي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب أسألك بحقك وقدسك وعظم صفاتك وأسمائك أن تجعل أوقاتي من الليل والنهار بذكرك معمورة وبخدمتك موصولة وأعمال عندك مقبولة حتى تكون أعمالي وأورادي كلها وردا واحدا وحالي في خدمتك سرمدا يا سيدي يا من عليه معولي يا من إليه شكوت أحوالي يا ربي يا ربي يا رب قوي على خدمتك جوارحي واشدد على العزيمة جواني وهب لي الجد في خشيتك والدوام في الاتصال بخدمتك حتى أسرح إليك في ميادين السابقين وأسرع إليك في البارزين واشتاق إلى قربك في المشتاقين وأدنو منك دنو المخلصين وأخافك مخافة الموقنين واجتمع في جوارك مع المؤمنين اللهم ومن أرادني بسوء فارد ومن كادني فكد واجعلني من أحسن عبيدك نصيبا عندك وأقربهم منزلة منك وخصهم ظلفة لديك فإنه ينال ذلك إلا بفضلك وجد لي بجودك واعطف علي بمجدك واحفظني برحمتك واجعل لساني بذكرك لهجا وقلبي بحبك مطيما ومن علي بحسن إجابتك وقلني عثرتي واغفر ذلتي فإنك قضيت على عبادك بعبادتك وأمرتهم بدعائك وضمنت لهم الإجابة فإليك يا ربي نصبت وجهي وإليك يا ربي مددت يدي فبعزتك استجب لي دعائي وبلغني منايا ولا تقطع من فضلك رجائي واكفني شر الجن والإنس من أعدائي يا سريع الرضا اغفر لمن لا يملك إلا الدعاء فإنك فعال لما تشاء يا من اسمه دواء وذكره شفاء وتعت غنى ارحم من رأس ماله الرجاء وسلاحه البقاء يا سابغ النعام يا دافع النقام يا نور المستوحشين في الظلم يا عالما لا يعلم صل على محمد وآل محمد وافعل بي ما أنت أهله وصلى الله على رسوله والأئمة الميامين من آله وسلم تسليما كثيرا على محمد وعلى رحم الله من قرأ الفاتحة.
Sayyid Rizvi, respected elders, dearest brothers and sisters in Islam, Salaam Alaikum. Let us remember all marhumin listed on the screen, as well as all other marhumin with a Surah Fatiha. Bismillah. Let's also remember all those in need here and elsewhere, as well as those listed on the screen with the Dua Shifa Mariz. Let us recite together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Amma yujibul mutharra idha ta'ahu wa yakshifu su. Amma yujibul mutharra idha ta'ahu wa yakshifu su. Amma yujibul mutharra idha ta'ahu wa yakshifu su. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. Ya Allah. Tonight we have amongst us Dr. Shaukat Ali Mirza from India, who is the founder of the NGO Helping Hands, which is focused on the needs of underprivileged communities in education, healthcare, women's empowerment, and humanitarian aid. In addition, Dr. Mirza is an author and president of the All India Natural Balagha Society. Please welcome Dr. Mirza to come forward and address the community with a salawat.
Is it possible that you can load this? Assalamu alaikum once again. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. A two-line introduction. I am Shaukat Mirza from Hyderabad, India. I started my journey from Hyderabad and gone to Aligarh to did my MSc in chemistry, then to Gujarat, Bhavnagar to did my PhD in chemistry. Then I moved to University of Geneva, Switzerland. I worked there. From there I moved to University of Massachusetts at Amherst campus. Went back to India. Destiny brought me to U.A.E, where we established 2 universities from the scratch. And 2011-12, I resigned as the president of American University of Ras Al Khaimah in U.A.E. The reason of my resignation was, it was a long pending desire, hidden agenda in the mind, that all through our lifetime spent more and more time to better ourselves, to better our families, to grab any better position with unlimited desires where we actually want to be. I thought being an educationist and academician, a vice chancellor or a president of university could be the biggest position for me, and what more I can think of beyond that. So the hidden desire was to do something for the society, for the community. I put up my resignation, gone back to Hyderabad to start an NGO called Helping Hands. It was a one-point agenda to motivate the underprivileged class, to support them, guide them, mentor them. If needed, financially support them with their tuition fee and make sure that they should come to a stage where they can be on their own. We started this activity from a very small ghetto of about 400 Shia families, where the highest qualified person at that time was a 10th grade qualified, and the highest position was a cab driver. Alhamdulillah, we started this activity as a Sunday school. Intention was to take the children along with us, motivate them, and create a sort of model so that others can be followed. But that very small group of 29 students became 40, 40 to 80, 80 to 120, and it was growing continuously. How can I go forward, backward? This is forward. Okay, this is forward. It is a long statement, don't need to bother. The one-line statement, the mission in the mind was to provide children around us with the essentials for a safe, healthy, and educated childhood, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes means, for me, buy, borrow, steal. Whatever it is, you have to make sure that the children should get the chance to go to their respective schools in the colleges. So we started a small Sunday school in a locality called Qaim Nagar. As I said, the biggest position was the cab driver. The highly qualified person in that ghetto was a grade 10 pass student. In that locality, we started this activity, gathering the students to teach them maths and English, followed by namaz of Zuhar, followed by lunch. The lunch was the biggest attraction, which makes the student to come to us regularly. The schools gets closed sometime in the last week of April in India. So we thought that once the school gets closed, if we touch them again Sunday to Sunday, the impact will be null and void throughout the week because they are free. So we immediately converted the Sunday school into a summer school so that the students can be with us for about 6 hours per day for 45 days time. That gave me an opportunity to understand their family, their needs, the real life situation, so many things so that we can plan like that. And that's how we converted in order to make the Sunday school a bit attractive. We provide meals all 6 days of the week, and students will get a chance to go for an educational tour at the end of the period so that it will be another bonus for them to join the Sunday school. So a small initiative which was actually started with 29 students, very soon it got extended, and you can see that this is the data of my last 10 years. We started with, at the end, 154 students, and 2022, it touched to 1,219, then 1,212, and there is a downfall 1,026 for the current year, 2023-24. These are the number of students to whom we pay their tuition fee. You might ask me a question, why it was on an increasing trend. It has gone up to 1,219, then started falling down, and it has come to 2026. There is a difference of about 185 students, which means 15% students' strength have gone down from 2022 to 2024. That I will respond in next few minutes. These are in terms of dollar figures. This is the amount spent during the year 2023-24. I have to say 23-24 because the financial year in India starts from April 1, ends on 31st March. So during the 23-24 year, we spent $292,000 on tuition fee, $7,000 approximately on Sunday school, and $14,000 plus on skill development. The 1,026 students, they come from 431 different schools and colleges. During this current academic and financial year, the area of operation is not only Hyderabad, it has extended beyond Hyderabad, and we do have students from 59 from another state called Andhra Pradesh, which is adjacent to our state, and 27 students from the northern part of India called Uttar Pradesh, and there are 3 more students from Maharashtra. Hence, the support has been extended beyond the city of Hyderabad to various other cities in India. It's not just to interact for the sake of tuition fee. We always try to find various modes by which we can increase their IQ and academic interest. So we have a series of seminars by which we try to bring the current topics for the students to make them understand where exactly we are as compared to the students of other communities. So these are various, you can see the gathering, you can see the titles, various seminars, webinars on various topics of the current interest we organize in order to promote their interest in educational activities. One more activity that we have added post-COVID is to conduct a sort of talent search in order to understand who is doing best. There might be some students, 1,000 plus students who are coming to our office, but there might be many students who are not coming for the financial support, but they belong to the community. So we try to conduct a test by which we can screen the best lot so that we can hold their hand, mentor them, guide them for the future. So every year we conduct this test since last 3 years. That's called as Helping Hands Talent Search Test. And this is the award ceremony. Prizes are very, very attractive in order to attract the students. So prizes are also very cash value wise, very big. Now, the thing is, something which we have spent almost 11 years, almost in terms of Indian rupees, 28 crores. And my day-to-day operation is almost 14 hours per day. The question is, if you have spent 10 years, 14 hours per day, this much money, what is the output? I should feel shy to show this slide, but still I take pride to show this slide. After putting so much of effort, for the first time, 2024, we got the first student graduated with medical degree. In fact, there are 2 students, Shirin and Salma. They are the first students the last 11 years who graduated as the medical doctors. And in the pipeline, we have few more. These 2 students are in 4th year. That means the final year. Next year, 2025, they will be graduated. Again, we have 2 more students in 3rd year. That means 2026, they will be graduated. Again, in the pipeline, there are a couple of students, and this year again, some students got admitted. When I say medical student, what I mean to say that in India, there are 2 levels of admissions. One, they have to appear for an entrance examination. If they get a good grade, good rank in that entrance examination, their tuition fee will be almost 0. 70% of the seats are filled with these type of students. Otherwise, the fee will be very, very high. People who have money, they go in that category. We try to encourage the students that no matter what it may take for grade 11, 12, we are ready to support them for any extra coaching, a better college with higher fee, so that if they can get a better rank, they can get a free seat in the medicine or engineering. Same goes with the engineering. So all these students, if at all I have to pay 60,000, it will not be even $800 per year for a medical student. But I might have to spend some substantial amount before they enter into medical college. The reason being, the competitive exam is very tough. You have to compete one versus, 80 or 90 students to enter into that grade so that you will be eligible for a free seat. Same goes with, so this is the outcome of the last 11 years effort. You might ask me that after spending so much time, you are able to produce this many. I will say that if I could not spend 11 years time, even this would not have been produced. Similarly, we have about 15, 20 engineers who have done engineering and now they are in a very good companies to work. For the first time since last 11 years, this year particularly, we got 11 students admitted with zero admission fee, all into computer science. I put an arrow mark here for this particular student. She was our first student, she was our first girl student from the area, what I call as Qaim Nagar. Nagar means city. It refers to our 12th Imam. The entire ghetto is of Shia population, but economically extremely bad. When the first year, when I started my activity from that area, this girl approached me, requesting me to find a job for her. At the time, she was 17-year-old. I said, what did you study? She said, maths, physics, chemistry, which is actually meant for going towards engineering. What are your grades? 9.7 out of 10. Such a good grade, why do you want to go for a job? That too after grade 12. And you are not even 18 years officially to take a job. I asked her what was the reason for studying maths, physics, chemistry. She said, I wanted to become engineer. Then why are you not becoming engineer? She said, I could not write the exam. Why you did not write the exam? Because I was due to pay 15,000 rupees to my college, because of which they did not give me my mark sheet, which was a must to submit to enter into the entrance examination. 15,000 Indian rupees is equal to not even $2,000. 200, sorry, not even $200 as a present day rate. I said, you could not get 15,000 from XYZ? She said, I tried, I got 10, but still there was a gap of 5,000 Indian rupees. I could not write. For the sake of probably $40, she could not write her entrance examination, because of which she could not enter into the engineering stream, and hence she decided that she'll go for a job. We went out of our ways to find resources by which she got admitted through the management quota, which means we have to pay the donation, the 30% category seats, but without paying any extra amount because of helping hands resources. She got admitted into an engineering college. She passed engineering with distinction with computer science as her subject. And currently she is working in Dubai. That is the unique example. When I achieved that, I said, this is the ultimate thing what I have achieved, and anything extra I could achieve after that, it will be a bonus. Because at that time I never thought that we can even produce a medical graduate. But alhamdulillah, now, today, not only medical graduates and engineering graduates, we are also able to produce few nurses, few pharmacy graduates, a lawyer, one or two chartered accountants, and some management positions. Post-COVID, the life was changed, not only for many of you, also at Helping Hands. For a long period, there was no placements. Students got graduated. They don't have the way out to go for an interview, for an appointment. So there were many families who lost their small businesses, no source of income. They badly need financial support. So what we did was we identified many courses by which, if they gone through 3 months to 6 months courses, they can be independently on their own and start earning. That's called skill development courses. So we started several skill development programs. This is tailoring. Similarly, we have a mehndi, that is henna designing. Then we have beautician. Then we have mobile phone repairing. Then we have art, craft, and resin making. Then we have so many other cooking, even patient care. All these programs we initiated. And even today, even after 2 years or 3 years of COVID, those batches are continuing batch after batch, and people are easy to find their source of income, either as a freelancer or they could find some job. Apart from academics, we also started this year particularly karate for girls for the ages between 5 to 15. Though the time period was very short, still they were able to compete at the national level and brought various awards. And that is the batch of 7 students from Helping Hands who were successfully qualified to compete at the national level in football competition. We also started giving small amount to establish individual businesses. That is called micro business support. You can see various activities. It is a, what do we say in English? Convenience store, mechanical shop, selling the spare parts of mobile phone. This is a garlic ginger peeling machine. This is a support where between 50,000 is $700. Between $700 to $1,500 we support, and in an unwritten agreement, they also start giving back whatever they got, the principal amount, to the Helping Hands, and in a way we are circulating the same amount. I think in the last 14 months we have, okay, 2 minutes. In the last 14 months, we have given 44 beneficiaries the loan amount. Same, they can, ladies in the area can make this food and start selling. In the month of Ramadan, they made a business of about 87,000, which is equal to almost $1,000. This is a widow program where widows of the ages 50 and above, we try to give them a monthly financial assistance and a little bit of medical support. This is first 1,000 days babies that mother, the would-be mother, when she gets pregnant, we try to take care of her health condition, the medical supplements, make sure that she should go through natural process, and when the baby is born, whatever is actually needed to keep the baby healthy, until the age of 2 years, we provide all the necessities. Feed the Hungry, it is a total secular program, irrespective of religion, sect, geographical area. We cook at our own kitchen, food packets of this type, which is being distributed in various localities by various volunteers. Grain distribution, it is not only in Ramadan, but throughout the year. These figures are in dollars. You can see 1920, it was a very small amount. It got increased to $50,000, $95,000, $132,000. That is going on. Time to time, the local government gives free small piece of land to the shelterless. It is about 80 square yards. And whosoever gets land, if they do not construct the house, they have to give the land back to the government. So in order to protect that land distribution, we construct houses. And I think 2023-24 was a very good year, where we constructed almost 11 houses. Health and medical is becoming a very serious issue in Hyderabad, probably all over. And the amount is also getting increased at Helping Hands. This is again in dollars. From $1,000, it has now become $30,000 for the last year. And other Helping Hand, we assist to provide monthly financial assistance, to provide grocery bags every month, to distribute blankets during the winter season. We also try to work with other institutions, opened 14 computer centers in various schools. This is another state called Aurangabad. This is again a donor from UK who tries to spend, this is Kapda Bank, which means to say that we collect old clothes and sort them out, wash them, repack them, and once again distribute to the needy one. At any given time, we have almost 10,000 pairs of clothes in our premises. This is one of the last chart where we show the income and expenses. The blue is the income, the red one is the expenses. It started with a very, very small thing, and now it has gone up. You can see here is my panic thing. My income is coming down, my expenses are going up, and that's how I stand here today, Shab-e-Juma, in the house of God, to say that you are not helping Hands, you're not helping Shaukat Mirza, you're not helping any Indian or Pakistani. Think that all the time, whatever prayers you were going through, you were praying for qurbatan ilallah, that you must do something by which God should start loving you, you should become closer to Allah. And what God says, lan tanalul birra hatta tunfiqu mimma tuhibbun. आप अल्लाह के नज़दीक नहीं पहुंच सकते जब तक कि आप अल्लाह को अल्लाह की राह में वो न दे दें जो आपको पसंद है. Definitely dollar is loved by everyone. Hence, you, in order to be closer to God, probably you have to think that. Second, again, Quran says, مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ كَمَثَلِ حَبَّةٍ أَنبَتَتْ سَبْعَ سَنَابِلَ فِي كُلِّ سُنبُلَةٍ مِئَةٌ حَبَّةٍ. Somebody who tries to give one unit of charity is like sowing a seed which gives a plant which has 7 bunches. Each bunches is having 100 units. That means you have given 1 unit and God has promised you to give 700 units. The God says, if you trust me, man zallazi yuqradullaha qardan hasana, who is there who can give me loan so that I can return you back? Is arfan kathira, in many times. So with this thing, I stop myself here, and well, this is my last slide. I just write, there is a lot to do before I sleep. There is a lot to do before I sleep. You might see a red cross line. I was presenting this slide. Somebody stood up from the audience saying that, Shaukat, whatever you're doing, there's no sleep in that work. So I can only say there is a lot to do. There is a lot to do. So without sleeping, we are trying our best to do what best we can do. Thank you very much. And I thank you, all of you, particularly the organizers of Lahai Masjid and my dearest friend, Dr. Abbas Yuji, for giving me an opportunity to present whatever I thought of presenting to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Mirza, for the presentation. Let's now invite Sayyid Hasan Rizvi to please come forward for tonight's Majlis. Wa Muhammadan wa ala Muhammad salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وبه نستعين. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين بالقاسم المصطفى محمد. اللهم صل. ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الأولين والآخرين إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. Mu'mineen, mu'minat, brothers and sisters in Islam and Iman, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Last week we started our new subtopic. The greater topic obviously was the Seerah Nabawi, the history of the time of the beginning of Islam. We began initially by talking about Jahiliyyah, pre-Islamic times. We've now come to the subtopic of talking about the adyan, the different madhahib, the religions that existed at that time, and how they continued on at the time of the coming of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. So the first question that we started to answer last week was how these Arabs, who were these Adnani Arabs, who claimed that they were the followers of the Deen Hanif, the Deen of Ibrahim alayhi salam, how did many of them start worshipping idols? How could they go from pure tawheed to shirk in the form of idol worship? We gave a few reasons last week until we came to this idea about honoring the dead. This is where we brought in an ayah of the Quran, and we said that this topic and the details of this topic have been mentioned in riwayat as well. So we'll begin tonight, and I think this will probably take up the full rest of the time that we have left. And I'll skip the Arabic. I'll skip the Arabic. I'll just go with the English. This hadith, reported from a companion, says that he heard Abu Ja'far, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, alayhi salatu wassalam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, discussing this topic of idol worship in Masjid al-Nabi. So there, Imam Baqir was saying that, without a doubt, indeed, Iblis, la'natullahi alayh, was the first one to create an image in the likeness of Adam alayhi salam. That Iblis is the first one to set up some sort of idol. He was the first one to do this. And he did this to deceive people and lead them astray from the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wad, yani one of the idols that existed back then. Wad was from the descendants of Qabil. So Wad is an idol, but he's giving the story. He said Wad was actually a descendant of Qabil and was the leader of his people. He was the chief. The people revered him. They honored him while they lived at the foot of a mountain. When Wad died, his brothers grieved for him, and Wad had left behind a son named Su'a. However, Su'a did not fill the role of his father among them. So for whatever reason, they honored, they revered this tribal leader named Wad. When his son Su'a took over, they didn't see that he had the same qualities. So people didn't really revere him as much. Then Iblis came to the people in the form of an elderly man and said, I have heard of your grief over the death of Wad, your great leader. Shall I create an image for you in the likeness of Wad so that you may take comfort in it and find companionship with it? And they said, yes, do it. So, Imam continues, this mal'oon, yani Iblis, took copper, he melted it until it was like water. Then he created an image in the likeness of Wad in his house. Then the people would then crowd around this idol, this image. They would kiss it, they would place their cheeks on it, and they would do sujood and prostrate in front of it. Now the Imam mentions that he made it out of copper. Now, pay attention, because this is important when we go through the rest of the riwayah. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So, Wad, leader, he's a descendant of Qabil. People like him, he dies. Iblis says, I want to make an idol for you people so that you can revere him and worship him, and they start to. But again, this was because they revered him, they honored him. He was a great individual, according to them. That's what they were doing first. Not that they thought he was a god. But the son Surah, of course, he sees that this idol is being worshipped. He's the chief, so he doesn't like this. Surah, Imam continues, Surah wished that the reverence and prostration be directed towards him. So he attacked the image of Wad, the statue that they had made, that Iblis had made of his father. He didn't like it, so he went and he destroyed it. Then the people wanted to kill Surah, but he admonished them and said, I will do, fine. You didn't like me because I didn't do what my father used to do, but I'll start doing that. I'll start acting like him because I'm his son. And if you kill me, then you'll have no leader. Now, this idea of this ta'assub, this leadership idea, this was something strong in these individuals, right? They wouldn't just go and kill their leader, even if their leader was an unjust individual, right? They had this kind of respect, unfortunately, for these zalimin and fasiqeen type of leaders. So they said, okay, fine, we'll do that. They started to obey him and honor and revere him. And then, of course, eventually he dies as well. And Surah now leaves behind a son named Yaghuth. So the people, they start crying over Surah. Iblis came to them again and said, I'm the one who made an image, a statue of Wad for you. Now, I see that you're grieving over his son Surah. Do you want me to make an image for him? You want me to do that for you? That nobody will be able to alter and destroy? They said, yeah, do that. Okay. So then he took a piece of wood, he carved it, and he placed in the house of Surah, and he named it Khilaf, right? Because it was, Iblis made it contrary to the image of Wad. What did the people do? They prostrated to it, they revered it even more than they did anybody else previously, right? But now, guess what happens? Like father, like son. When Yaghuth, now the son sees it, he gets jealous. And at this point, because now people realized, okay, one person, right, Surah, he destroyed the idol of his father, Wad. They said, okay, his son might do the same thing, so let's put some guards in front of this area, in front of the house. So they did. But Yaghuth, the son, doesn't care. He gets jealous, he goes, he kills the guards at night, and he destroys that idol as well. When they come there, same thing happens. The people wanted to kill Yaghuth. And he says, but this time his strategy was a bit different. First, he fled and he hid from them. Eventually, they sought him out, and some sort of conversation happens. They make him agree, and then they say, okay, fine, you're the leader. We'll honor and revere you. Right? This is how simple these people are. Same thing now. Yaghuth, right? He lives on, he's revered. He lives a son named Ya'uq. Yaghuth dies. Iblis comes again. He says, I've heard of the death of your leader, Yaghuth. Shall I make an image of him in the likeness of Ya'uq that nobody can destroy? Same promises that he's made before that obviously don't hold. They said, yeah, do it. So he took a piece of white stone. He chiseled it with iron and carved an image in the likeness of Ya'uq. They revered it even more, building a house of stone over it, agreeing among themselves that they would only open the door of that house once a year. And they called this house Al-Bay'ah. Why? Because they made Bay'ah in front of it, that this is what we're going to start to do and honor this new statue of our revered leader. So you see it. Now I mentioned copper before. So he went from copper, idol or statue, to iron, and now to this. And each time, when Iblis is making the same promises, do you miss him? I'll make a statue for you and nobody can destroy it. Every time it keeps getting destroyed. So he puts in more effort and says, no, this one won't get destroyed. And the people, they start to increase their efforts too to try to protect that idol, that statue that's there. Again, I'm using the word idol and statue, but they weren't worshiping it in the sense of it was a god. They were revering it as it was one of their ancestors. It was a leader that had great qualities. That's it. Same thing we mentioned last week. In many societies, people, they build statues in this country. They build statues of, former presidents and things like this. They carve faces on, Mount Rushmore. So people have this idea of honoring individuals like this. So this is not out of the ordinary necessarily. Out of the ordinary for us, yes, but not for other individuals. Right? Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So Ya'uq. So he's the living one now. What do you think he does? Like father, like son, like grandfather, like grandchild. Same pattern happens. He gets jealous. He takes a cloth. He puts it on top of that statue, the idol, and he burns it at night. People wake up. They see it. They see that their idol, their statue has been destroyed. They wanted to kill Ya'uq. But same thing. He says, you can't kill your leader because then who's going to take care of your affairs? And they said, okay, fine. We won't do it. Then, this is their behavior, right? He dies. He leaves a son, Nasr. And we're coming toward the end of the hadith now. Iblis, he sees that these guys don't change. I can come and use the same trick on them. Iblis comes again. I heard your great leader died again. Do you want me to make an image that will never go away? They said, yeah, do it. So he took gold this time. He melted it. And he created an image in the likeness of Ya'uq from clay. He poured the gold into it, and the people placed it in their temple and revered it even more than before. So now, same thing. Nasr, the leader, he doesn't even want to go into the temple. So instead, everybody else, all his ancestors, would go and destroy these statues and idols. He didn't do that. He said, you know what, I'm going to do something different. He distanced himself from his own people. He created his own group. He said, no, you guys will worship me. You guys will revere and honor me. And let these guys go and worship and revere my father in that statue. Then Nasr dies. We get to the prophethood of Idris alayhi salam. Idris had heard that people were, kind of worshiping this image, revering and honoring it, of Ya'uq, and that Nasr was being worshipped instead of Allah. So, Nabi Idris alayhi salam went to the people with his followers. He reached the city of Nasr, and they fought and defeated them. Some of the people were killed, but some of them were able to escape the battle, and they fled. And they scattered everywhere. Now, what happened was, some of these idols that they had there were taken, some of them were. So you have these people in the middle of all this fighting, they kind of ran away from everything. Generation after generation passed, they settled in different lands. The memory of how and why they would make these statues of these leaders, of their ancestors, had completely left them. So what happened? After a while, they didn't even know the names of these individuals anymore. At the time, then Nabi Nuh's time comes, alayhi salam. He's calling everybody to worship Allah, abandon these idols that they're now worshiping. And what do the people say to them? This is where, again, we go back to Surah 71, Surah An-Nuh, Ayah 23. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. What did the people say to the individuals that Nuh was preaching to? وَقَالُوا لَا تَذَرُنَّ آلِهَتَكُمْ وَلَا تَذَرُنَّ وَدَّ وَلَا سُوَاعَ وَلَا يَغُوثَ وَيَعُوقَ وَالنَّصْرَ. All those same individuals that existed, that we turned into statues, that over time became idols. The people were saying, don't abandon your gods. Don't abandon Wad, don't abandon Suwa', don't abandon Yaghuth, Ya'uq, and Nasr. So Imam there's a lot to say in this hadith. Maybe we can analyze it a bit more next time we get a chance, inshallah. But just some points to think about, which you already mentioned over here. You see, in the beginning of this, they weren't creating these statues out of any negative or wrong idea. They just wanted to honor their chief that had passed away, right? They felt there was somebody that was honorable in their eyes, their chief, right? Wad was the first one, a descendant of Qabil. They revered him and honored him. When he died, they were grieving. And when people grieve, sometimes they need something physical. We mentioned this last week. Remember I said that to keep this in the back of your mind too. We have very, very similar inclinations, don't we? And I mentioned the example of Ziyarat for a reason. Now, when I mentioned the example, and I wanted you to keep in your mind, there was two reasons. You and I, were individuals now, they can go in two different directions. Let me share with you after a salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. We can say, look, we see these examples, right, that people are doing this, so obviously we'll be careful, right? We're never going to do anything like this, right? So when we revere and honor personalities, right, obviously the ma'asumeen, alayhimus salam, ulama, whatever it is, we're never going to get to a degree where we're worshiping them like idols, na'udhu billah. But you see that there is this small group of individuals, speakers, scholars, I hesitate to use that word, but some of them say they take these kinds of stories. They take the stories that are in the Quran, how Allah says, be careful, do not follow what your forefathers were doing, things like this. And they say, see what we or you Shias are doing, this is what the mushrikeen of that time and this time, you're doing the exact same thing. This is the accusation that they level at Shias. They said, look at the way that people go to the dhari of the Ahlul Bayt. Look how they run there, they grab it and they cry. And I'll be honest, right, in my younger, more arrogant, more ignorant days, I had these same sort of ideas in my mind too. I said, where are all these things coming from? People putting up these dharis, putting stuff in their house, all these alams, all these kind of things. And I latched on myself to the kind of speakers who didn't like and didn't agree with these types of things. Oh, right, this is coming from Hindus, this is coming from idol worship, all these sort of ideas. Right? So I had my own mission out there. And it wasn't until I was able to sit down with ulama who were able to kind of explain that, no, this is not what we're doing. Yes, many others, they might do that, sure. But this is not an extreme that we have gone to. And I don't know why people accuse us of doing something like that. Again, it's not always Wahhabis. It's even sometimes our own people who say, no, this is shirk. Look, I've never met an actual Shia, never in my life have I ever met an actual Shia who says that Adhari or any of these personalities have some independent power outside of Allah. I've never met one Shia who said anything like that. So look, if somebody is going and they're crying at the qabr, at the dhari of the ma'sumin or an esteemed alim or something like that, right? Is it because you and I are doing it on our own, or it's because we've been advised in the Quran and by the Ahlul Bayt? We're doing it because they said to perform ziyarat and go and do all of these things. We are not coming up with this on our own. The difference over here was that in these stories, out of their own personal grief, in opposition to what the Nabi, the wali of their time, was saying, they decided to create their own culture. What we are doing is maintaining a culture that our ulama have been passing down for generation to generation upon generation. We're not doing anything different. So sometimes it's happening among these kind of newer speakers who want to push away from certain ideas. It happens a lot amongst youth because of the way that people think in the West. And I'm telling you, I used to think like this as well too, until I was able to sit down with somebody who was explaining it to me in a proper way, that no, this is not an extreme that followers of Ahlul Bayt have gone to. So it's inappropriate to levy that sort of insult to the followers of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salatu wassalam. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now, does that mean that we do not tend to go to extremes sometimes? I've mentioned it before, mentioned a few weeks ago. Yes, sometimes there are certain things that you and I, or different communities, maybe not here, but maybe other cultures, they engage in certain behavior that marajir and ulama are saying, no, you shouldn't be doing this. Right? This is a problem. I mentioned examples, so I'm not going to mention them again. So yes, sometimes it does take place, it does happen. But the level of shirk, I don't think there's, even if there's one, I don't think I've ever heard of something like that. Yes, there might be something that maybe is not spiritually conducive, maybe something that's not recommended, but to the level of shirk, I don't know. I think there is this tendency now for us to push way too much. And I think it's because the language of people has been influenced by outsiders. So we have to ourselves be very, very careful when we see individuals, whether we tend to go more kind of left-wing, liberal, progressive Islam, or tend more to the conservative, traditional right-wing Islam. As long as everything is within the red lines of the Sharia, as long as we are not going against the teachings of the Quran and Ahlul Bayt, then different cultural expressions are okay, right? There's no issue. If you and I find ourselves pushing back or really fighting over something, and it's not an actual principle mentioned by the Quran or Ahlul Bayt or our ulama, then we can say, yeah, this is coming from my nafs. I'm the one saying this, even though Islam is actually not directly recommending this. Then we would say there's a problem over here. So a humble thing for us, for you and I to do is if we see that kind of passion, sometimes rage, our emotions get the best of us when we hear somebody insult a certain thing or say, change this or do something differently. Sometimes we're like, why? We've been doing it XYZ for so long. Well, let me take a step back and say, let me just double check and make sure this is something that is actually a recommendation and allowed in Islam. If it's allowed and I can do it, great. If it's recommended, even better. As long as it does not go against the teachings, then it's okay. But at least let me be humble enough to double check and make sure that is the case. Does that mean that certain things may start changing or going away? Maybe. But in general, those kind of things have been done away with over time, because that's one of the jobs of the ulama, is they have looked, kind of been watchful over communities and any practices that they see. For example, tendency of certain types of poetry now to go to extremes. You have to be very, in the different sha'air, the poetry that's mentioned in praise of the Ahlul Bayt, or in terms of their gham and masa'ib, don't start detracting and taking away from their fada'il and their characteristics. Don't start making things up, right? So these are things that you and I have to be careful of if we are reciters ourselves or we are listeners. We need to make sure, again, this is just one simple example, that we are not moving to extremes and we are reducing the maqam and daraja of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salatu wassalam. Let's move on to Hud for tonight after a salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. One more salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Okay, so we only have one person so far. I think everybody else is out trick-or-treating, no? Okay, M.M. Qambar, Mahmoud, M. Hussein? You got a couple letters missing. Truth Seeker, MMJ. I'm waiting for somebody to name themselves HIC for Husseini Islamic Center, the center that HIC. Some of these I'm not going to read. Super duper Shia, Talibul Ilm, SK squared. Helping Hands, mashallah. KLM, Sakina, Kahoot. What may we have? I think we have Halloween. Very, very nice. Very nice. I don't do this myself, but if anybody wanted to, tonight they could have left out a basket of short, right? A short book, Dua Kumayl, something like that, right? Don't take it seriously, please. Okay, trust the process. Okay, let's get started, inshallah. I don't know. That's okay. If you lose humility and concentration in the salah becomes batil, void. Is that true or false? That if you lose humility and concentration in your salah, then your salah becomes batil and void. So instead of saying, you decide to start thinking about snacks reserved afterwards. Yes. It is makruh, obviously, but it is not, it doesn't actually void your salah. Okay. Let's just keep going. I'll wait till the end for the scoreboard. Let's just keep moving along. Okay. Amr ibn Luhay brought the idol Hubal from Makkah to Makkah from which area? From Sham, Syria, Yemen, India, or North Africa? Where did he bring this quote-unquote moon idol to the Arabs? Where did he bring it from? We did mention this a long time ago. He bought it from Sham, from Syria. Yes. Okay, let's keep going. Number 3. Arabs used to take a piece of the Kaaba with them on a journey and do what? Bow down to it, do tawaf around it, wear it around their neck, or all of the above. What did they used to do when they took a piece of the Kaaba along with them on a journey? No, they would go and do tawaf around it. This is one of the things that eventually led to idol worship. Because tawaf was the beginning and they started to go more. Okay, last question. This is a multi-select with double points. Which of these idols were mentioned in the Quran from the time of Nabi Nuh? Wad, Suwa', Yaghouth, Ya'uq, Nasr, and Lat. Which of these were idols mentioned that existed at the time of Nabi Nuh alayhi salam? everything except Lat, right? Lat is the only one that was not mentioned in the ayah that we just quoted like 5 minutes ago. Okay, it's third place, Halloween. Okay, try your next year, inshallah. Okay, in some place. Oh, I don't know if my laptop is lagging. I can't see anything. HIC Coder, Kahoot. That was it. That was the first place. That's your name. Okay, no problem. Okay, congratulations to all three of you. And for tonight, walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ahli baytih tayyibin al-tahirin.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد السلام عليك يا وارث آدم صفوة الله السلام عليك يا وارث نوح نبي الله السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله السلام عليك يا وارث أمير المؤمنين عليه السلام السلام عليك يا ابن محمد المصطفى السلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وأطعت الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين فلعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأصلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة لم تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها ولم تلبسك من مدلهمات ثيابها وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرضي الزكي الهادي المهدي وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وأعلام الهدى والعروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا وأشهد الله وملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله أني بكم مؤمن وبإيابكم موقن بشرائع ديني وخواتيم عملي وقلبي لقلبكم سلم وأمري لأمركم متبع صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم بأبي أنت وأمي يا ابن رسول الله بأبي أنت وأمي يا أبا عبد الله لقد عظمت الرزية وجلت المصيبة بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل السماوات والأرض فلعن الله أمة أسرجت والجمت وتهيأت لقتالك يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله قصدت حرمك وأتيت إلى مشهدك أسأل الله بالشأن الذي لك عنده وبالمحل الذي لك لدي أن يصلي على محمد وآل محمد وأن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة. زيارة علي بن الحسين. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله، السلام عليك يا ابن نبي الله، السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا ابن الحسين الشهيد، السلام عليك أيها الشهيد، السلام عليك أيها المظلوم وابن المظلوم. لعن الله أمة قتلتك، ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك، ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. زيارة الشهداء. السلام عليكم يا أولياء الله وأحباءه، السلام عليكم يا أصفياء الله وأوداءه، السلام عليكم يا أنصار دين الله، السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد الحسن بن علي الولي الناصح، السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله، بأبي أنتم وأمي طبتم وطابت الأرض التي فيها دفنتم وفزتم فوزا عظيما، فيا ليتني كنت معكم فأفوز معكم. السلام عليك يا أبا الفضل العباس بن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا ابن سيد الوصين، السلام عليك يا ابن أول القوم إسلاما وأقدمهم إيمانا وأقومهم بدين الله وأحوطهم على الإسلام. أشهد لقد نصحت لله ولرسوله ولأخيك، فنعم الأخ المواسي. فلعن الله أمة قتلتك، ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك، ولعن الله أمة استحلت منك المحارم. وانتهكت حرمة الإسلام، فنعم الأخ الصابر المجاهد المحامي الناصر، والأخ التابع النخي المجيب إلى طاعة ربه، الراغب فيما زيد فيه غيره من الثواب الجزيل والثناء الجميل، والحق الله بدرجة آبائك في جنات النعيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء، السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى، السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. السلام عليكم أئمة المسلمين، علي ومحمد وجعفر وموسى وعلي ومحمد وعلي والحسن، صلى الله عليك ابن الزهراء يا صاحب الزمان، سيدي الأمان 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 من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن وكعبة الإيمان وإمامنا وإمام الإنس والجان، عجل الله لك ما وعدك من النصر وظهور الأمر ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة، وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا، حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. وصل يا رب على محمد وآل الطيبين الطاهرين.